Welcome to another edition of the Litigation Psychology Podcast brought to you by Courtroom Sciences. I am Dr. Bill Kanasky. Summer is almost here. Summer is almost here. It's going to be 90 degrees this weekend here. Boy, 80s are great. 90s, I mean, you don't have to shovel it, but yeah, starts getting over that 90. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. But it was a crazy winter, so maybe some heat. So we'll be good. Why is my wife calling me in the middle of the podcast? She knows better. Stop it. She does this every time. All right. Anyway, short podcast today because I have an intake for jury research at the top of the hour, and I've been given speeches all over the country on this topic on how to do jury research. Because I think virtually things have changed the game. The cost has drastically come down. You can do shorter projects. You can do projects that you can get very creative as far as deciding. You can manipulate variables, right? And we're talking about the focus group model. So let's kind of take a step back. So I did a speech yesterday, and what I had told, and this was for claims managers at an insurance company. I was trying to describe the scientific method, essentially. So that scientific method, remember, you have to explore first, then confirm. But in jury research, everybody skips the explore. They just go right to the confirmation. They go right to the mock trial. And the problem is they haven't explored first. Okay. When you explore, right, you start looking under rocks. Okay. You're going to find bugs. And that's the whole purpose of exploring, particularly with early focus groups, is you want to find the problems in your case and you want to figure out the hidden. There's always something hidden that you would never find in a mock trial. So when your first project, your first jury project in your case is a mock trial, you are missing a ton of stuff. Things will remain hidden, and a bunch of error is going to be dragged into your project, which is completely unnecessary. But that's what so many on the defense side do. Okay. The first thing to do, scientific method, is you explore first, then you confirm. Okay. So if you did 2 focus groups, you sorted through the messy stuff, you lifted up all the rocks, right? You looked underneath, you found your bugs, you found your worms, you figured out where the juror comprehension problems were. Okay. And you do all this stuff early in a focus group methodology. That's where your theme development comes from, right? Okay. You're going to find those hidden vulnerabilities. You're going to the key misunderstandings jurors have. Okay. But no. Attorneys want to go right to that mock trial and start arguing and putting on wrong. Okay. When you build a house, the roof comes last. The roof comes last. But I think the better analogy is the X-ray MRI. By the way, X-rays became part of the medical assessment mainstream as a tool between 1905 and 1910. Okay. So between 1905 and 1910, medical professionals and experts, okay, X-rays were the go-to medical test for orthopedic injuries. Okay. It's 2026. What is the go-to test for orthopedic injuries? What's the go-to? X-rays. It's still over 100 years. Why? You have to understand the basics before you can understand the advanced. And listen, I do plenty of work in MedMal. I have talked to a number of orthopedic surgeons. I'm like, well, like you got all these fancy MRIs, like you got all this fancy, expensive stuff. Why do you still use X-rays? Bottom line, number one, they're easy to do, simple and fast. Number two, they're cheap. Number three, they're repeatable and from different angles. And number four, they give you information those other tests don't give you so well. Remember, MRIs for soft tissue. Okay. Sound familiar? That's what the focus group does. I've had orthopedic surgeons tell me in deposition prep or trial prep, like the x-rays are critical because based on what I see from the x-rays, that's what I know what to do when I'm ordering the MRI and looking at those results. It's 2026. Just skip the x-ray. Good God. You don't need x-rays in 2026. It's with professional athletes that get injured, first test, x-ray. It's never going to change. Why? It's cheap, it's fast, it's easy, it's reliable. It gives you very, very important information on the basics. So in litigation, you need to take that and go, aha, okay? Because what you're doing, okay, you're not assessing a medical condition in your case, you're assessing your case, the strengths and weaknesses. Okay. What do jurors understand? What do they not understand? Are there any emotional triggers? Okay. What do you need to study that? You need an x-ray. You don't need a goddamn MRI to figure out if jurors watch the dash cam video and get upset or not. You don't need a mock trial to do that. Now, when do you need the MRI? After you've done x-rays. After you've done x-rays. You should really go, if you know, you should just go talk to an orthopedic surgeon for an hour and they'll tell you how they do things. Bunch of x-rays first to figure things out on the basic level. Then we're going soft tissue, but you're going to get a lot of clues from the x-ray. You don't just jump into the MRI. Here's what's never happened before in sports history. A football player or a basketball player blows out their knee and they go, take him right to the MRI machine. Never. It's never happened. The first test, x-rays. And that will never change. Okay. And that's going to influence how you see the MRI. Okay. It's the same thing with jury research. You just hop right to the mock trial. A lot of error. You're going to miss a lot of hidden vulnerability. You have a lot of bias. Okay. Now, if you went through a round or two or even three of basic focus groups and you figured out the basics, then you go do your mock trial, you're going to have a fantastic mock trial. It's going to be valid. It's going to be far more reliable. Why? Because you studied the basics first. That's the way this should be done. Now, the problem is in the past, it was almost impossible. It was too goddamn expensive. Okay. But now with virtual focus groups, very, very easy to do, much, much cheaper. Okay. So those of you that have jumped right to the mock trial in the past, I'm going to give you a get out of jail free card pass. Okay. Because before you really didn't have many options. Okay. The mock trial is kind of like there's nothing else to do. And doing in-person focus groups, then a mock trial, which by the way, we've done before in the past, extraordinarily expensive, right? You get $100 million exposure. Yeah, you may very well want to do that. Okay. There's a lot of cases that are not $100 million. All right. So now There's really no excuse to fall into this trap. Okay. Of just jumping right to the mock trial. I still get clients calling me every week. How can I help you? We think we need a mock trial. And then by the end of the call, they're like, wow, we really don't need a mock trial, do we? I'm like, usually no. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do when the x-ray is only going to give you, the focus group's only going to give you so much, or there's a practical issue. Where does that practical issue come in? Generally speaking, on cases that have multiple parties, you have multiple plaintiffs or you have multiple co-defendants, right? A basic focus group is very difficult in that regard because there's too many moving parts. Okay. I still think you need a focus group, but you may have to do a more expanded focus group that's longer to sort out all those issues, right? So in a basic case, your x-ray, what's that going to look like? 1 or 2 focus groups that are 2 to 4 hours long. That's what the x-ray is going to look like. That's all you need on most of these cases. Okay? 1 or 2 focus groups, depends on your situation, 2 to 4 hours. Okay? But if you get a case and there's four co-defendants, well, that's probably not going to work. Okay? You may need to upgrade, still use a focus group. It's just like doing more x-rays from different angles because it's a complicated fracture, right? If you have a simple fracture, hey, I fell down, my arm's crooked, they take a couple, yeah, it's pretty obvious, right? You're in a car accident and your arm's broken in 17 different places, you're going to have more x-rays. It's more complicated, right? So what do? Do more x-rays, right? In other words, you can set up your focus group to be longer, okay? Because you're going to have like the 2 to 4 hours ain't going to cut it because you got so many parties involved, right? All right. But the whole point to all of this is, and I want to try to get this to everybody's head, I cannot tell you how many times, particularly when I parachute in on a case. I parachute in on a case. Everybody's been fired. So they got new trial counsel. He or she brings in me. They've already done their mock trial. And I look at the mock trial report and I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. It's the only test they've done. They skipped the x-ray. They went right to the MRI. And it's garbage in, garbage out. It's almost useless, right? If you want that mock trial to really, really be good, when I mean good, it's got to be accurate. So we're talking about validity, right? It's got to be reliable. Okay. It's garbage in, garbage out. So you got to put good stuff in to get good stuff out. How do you get the good stuff? Focus groups. Okay. It's like focus groups are like a filtration system. Okay. You're going to pick up all the, right, impurities. You're going to pick all that up. That's really important before you do anything advanced. And it's fully exploratory. Okay. It's juror based as opposed to attorney based. Okay. We're doing so much of this now because clients are figuring out, number one, wow, when I do these early in the case, the case gets on the right trajectory earlier. Wow, when we really learn about the true strengths and weaknesses, it helps our discovery, it helps guide our discovery. It's a good thing. Number 3, when we start studying not just the strengths and weaknesses, but the potential exposure, it changes our mindset on whether or not we want to settle the case or fight it? And if so, for how much? Oh, and number four, this is exactly what the plaintiff's bar does. They do focus groups early and often in cases, and they do a really good job at them. Therefore, they make better decisions. Okay. X-rays before MRIs. That's the number one topic I am speaking on, and I don't advertise my speaking like I used to on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's becoming a cesspool. I don't know if I'm going to stay on LinkedIn. It's, I've never had Facebook. There's a reason for that. But LinkedIn, geez. But I don't really advertise kind of where I'm speaking, what I'm doing, kind of keep that a little more covert. I can tell you where I'm not speaking are at big national meetings where no one's really there to learn. I think that's a big waste of time. Speaking more internally, I'm speaking to companies and their internal people. Think about it. If you're at a national meeting, right, you can't really have a good discussion. No one's going to be talking in the audience, to be honest. No. Go to the company, sit down with their risk management, claims folks, in-house counsel, oftentimes bringing in some of their outside counsel. Could have some really productive meetings and be very honest with each other on where your weaknesses are. That's where I prefer to speak. These kind of big, hey, we're having our national meeting in Vegas. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that sounds fun. That's a shit show, folks. Uh-uh. Not doing that. And most importantly, not going to mention who, a ton of law firms have reached out very quietly, asked me not to say anything about it and say, listen, I want better attorneys. I want more educated attorneys. I want to be on the cutting edge of things. Can use some seminars for my attorneys. Witness stuff, voir dire stuff, opening statement. Yeah. We can do that. And again, it allows me an audience that I can be really honest with and have some back and forth discussions. 2 weeks ago, somebody contacted me. We're looking for speakers for our national meeting and blah blah, and it's going to be in Vegas, and there's going to be 300-400 people there, and we want you to be our 10 a.m. speaker. I'm like, no. They're like, what? It would be so much exposure for you. I'm like, everybody knows who I am. I don't need that. And no one's there to learn. No one goes to Vegas to learn anything. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas for a reason. That's about I need that like a hole in the head. Vegas, I hope I never go back. It's a cesspool. Hope I never go back. Ever. Been there, done that. Don't need it, don't want it. I'd rather go to a company that's serious about their litigation, about their philosophy, about their strategies. I'd rather go to a law firm that says, hey, we want to be better. We want to be better. That's maybe I tell you, of all the phone calls I get to speak, I think that may be the most fair. When I get an attorney, typically like a partner, managing partner calls me and says, I want our attorneys to be better. I want them to be better than other attorneys at other law firms. I want to serve our clients to a higher level. And my younger attorneys, I want to get them started off on the right track. Anything involving self-improvement, nothing makes me happier. That's awesome. Now you're gonna get some people that are very we don't need that shit. We know what we're doing here at ABC Law Firm. We don't need this shit. The effing psychology. We don't need this. Okay, that good, fine. That's fine. That's fine. Go your way, I'll go my way. But as we move forward, I think attorney development is a big, big deal. It doesn't get enough credit. Don't think it gets enough attention. But the other big deal, which is like tied for first, is when you get like the head of claims or the head of legal call and go, we need to do things differently. The way we've been doing things is not working. We need to up our game. Can you help? Yes. Yes, there's a system. There is a system. Yeah, I like those calls. All right, I got this intake, this new case intake in 3 minutes, so I'm gonna go. However, summer's gonna be here soon. I hope everybody is doing great. So many of you have reached out to me, some just to say, hey, thanks for doing this podcast. Some of you have some more case specific questions. Happy to answer those. Some of you have said, hey, I'd like to be a guest on the podcast. I want to talk about this. And quite frankly, most of those are really good fits, and we say yes to. We do get some kind of crazy people. We do have some crazy people that contact us like, I want to be a guest. No. Got to protect that. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Litigation Psychology Podcast brought to you by Courtroom Sciences. I'm Dr. Bill Kanasky. Sit!